Hey, good evening. I wanted to go ahead and record this quick video to showcase a feature inside of Zoho WorkDrive that I wasn't aware was actually available yet. And given everything that's going on with artificial intelligence and the talk about files all the way down and building context profiles, I thought it was pretty awesome to see. So, if you've been paying attention to what's going on with artificial intelligence at all and agentic projects, both open sourced and things coming from the big frontier labs like Claude from Anthropic and Claude Code from Anthropic, you probably have come across reference to the fact that files being used to provide memory and context for our AI agents is rapidly becoming kind of the done thing in order to really get the most utility and to work with this technology in the best way possible to allow us to be as productive as possible and generate great results with it. So, files all the way down is a term you may have heard or a saying that you may have heard, but ultimately what it comes down to is the fact that using very simple files that are not complex in terms of how they're structured and how they're formatted is a great way to give artificial intelligence, large language models, additional information, history, context, and ability to log memories that they have. Now, the problem is for a lot of people is that a markdown file, .md for the extension at the end of it, may seem somewhat intimidating. But the reality is it's not at all. It's a simple text file that just has some additional formatting options inside of it. And if you're a Zoho user and you use Zoho WorkDrive, they've actually made it super simple to use these markdown files. So now, when you go into Zoho WorkDrive, you can actually see, this particular option here, this particular menu here. You can see this folder has a bunch of context profiles that we use or that I use. And I'm going to go ahead and pop one of these things open, right? So you can kind of take a look at what is a markdown file. And so you can see there's nothing really fancy with how this particular file is laid out and structured, right? It's using kind of the pound sign, right? The pound sign, the hash symbol to create some structure and formatting. And it's a way that you can structure the stuff and give it some headings that not only is easy for a human to read, because it's still pretty easy for a human to read that, but it's also easy for an artificial intelligence, a large language model, to actually read and review this and understand and consume it. Plus, these markdown files are very, very small. They're very, very small. So what I noticed as I was working with Zoho earlier is that now they have open with a markdown editor. So you can open it not just with a desktop app, not just with a code editor, because frankly, for a lot of people, if they're not a technical person, not a programmer, a developer, or a software engineer, a code editor might be a little bit intimidating. Working with things inside of the terminal window might be a little bit intimidating. But the reality is it's really just files, right? So it's really just files that we're working with, and these are simple text files. You can see there's no scripts or anything inside of there, just very simple text files. But Markdown is an incredibly useful way that we can communicate with large language models. And so now you have the ability to open these files with a web-based Markdown editor, right? So in addition to allowing you to work with these files in a much easier way, now you have the ability to open it in this Markdown editor and you can kind of see what it looks like converted to human readable format, right? So you can see here that the one hashtag, one hashtag at the beginning of the line, the title here is turned this into basically a headline or almost an H1, right? Two has actually turned this into almost an H2 or like a subheadline, and so on and so forth. You can go further down that nesting list and really use Markdown to structure your files in a way that allows you to not only use them yourself, but also use them as context for artificial intelligence, large language models. So I thought that was really interesting, really cool to see that that's actually the case. You can look at it in a split screen. You can look at it back into the Markdown mode, so you're just focused on Markdown, jump back to split screen, go into kind of the focus mode. But it's a really nice quality of life improvement and really, really cool that Zoho actually decided to roll this out. Now, maybe I missed the blog, maybe I missed the article or the notification about this, but I hadn't seen anything about it. But I found it when I was poking around inside of the system, and I thought it was really awesome. One additional thing that I think it's important to know is that if you're inside of Zoho WorkDrive and you're going to create a new folder, you can actually create a new Markdown file pretty easily, right? So if you open up the new option, right? Data interface will give you an ability to then turn on code snippet or make a new thing with code snippet. If you go in here, right, and you start to, just type in, the Markdown type formatting, you can actually, I'll just give this a simple name, test Markdown, save file. You can actually save it as Markdown. So you would pick, it'll ask what kind of code are you using. You just type Markdown, and it'll give you the ability to just save it as Markdown. And then when you go to upload it or create a new file, it's going to create it in Markdown straight away. And so then you can kind of get into this whole other thing. You can see it's nothing special, right? It's nothing fancy. I probably even messed up the formatting. Yeah, I didn't put spaces there. So if we do that, maybe that'll fix it. Anyways, I just wanted to show you what it is. I'm tired. It's been a long, long day. It's 8:15 here. I've been up since 4:30 a.m. working on stuff, but I'm super excited to see this. Thank you, Zoho, for actually putting this out there. It's a huge quality of life feature and something that is going to help us out a lot here at Foundari. So hope this helps. Be well.